27 movies, 5 shows, a shit ton more on the way. And there are still some I really want to see that have not been announced. So I scoured the Marvel library. I flipped through the pages of the Marvel Encyclopedia. I looked at the 82-year history of Marvel, and I saw all sorts of great characters that I would like to see join the MCU. And from there, I compiled a list of movies and shows that I think they should make. It's gonna be 2 videos, because I realized halfway through writing this that this needs to be a 2-parter. So today, you guys will get part 1 of that video, and then in a couple days, you'll get part 2 of that video. So it's 6 movies and 6 shows. This is gonna be the movie 1. So it's gonna be 6 MCU movies I would like to see. You guys will see the 6 shows in a few days. Now, I did make a few rules for this because otherwise this could be a pretty broken list. So I had to make a few rules to make this work. So rule number 1 is that none of my ideas can be sequels to existing MCU projects. So that means no Shang-Chi 2, no Eternals 2, no Hulk 2, none of that. Rule number 2, no X-Men on this list. I want to make a video dedicated to the X-Men and how I would do that, so I'm gonna leave them off of this list. Also, the whole list could just be dominated by X-Men stuff, so I figured keep it simple. No X-Men on this list. Rule number 3 is that none of my ideas can be already announced MCU projects. That means I cannot put Blade on this list, I cannot put Fantastic Four on this list, or any other movie that's been announced but we don't have much info on yet. With those 3 rules out of the way, let's hop into this list. 6 movies I would like to see in the MCU. Okay, obviously, we'll get the easy one out of the way here. Nova. Nova is a character long overdue for his own film. He was teased in Guardians of the Galaxy with the Nova Corps, but nothing has come of him since. I think that he would be a really good member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I do want to see him in action, whether it's in Volume 3 or at some point in the future. I would just really like to see it. And I think it's even funnier that we have not gotten any word or even so much as a hint of a Nova announcement, considering that he's been one of the most requested characters to join the MCU for several years now. But Marvel's remained silent on what the deal is with Nova. I really hope they don't continue to remain silent. And do you guys want to know the coolest part? In the original comics, Nova Prime, who's already played by Glenn Close in the MCU, took a trip through space, and Nova Prime revealed that Xandar had been destroyed, something that's already happened in the MCU. And because they gender swapped the character in the MCU, he used his last moments to shoot an energy beam towards Earth that hit good old Richard Rider, giving him powers and turning him into Nova. The stage is set, Marvel. Everything is in place. We're all waiting. Alright, figured I would start off with the easy one. It's not something just I want, it's something pretty much everyone wants. We would love to see Richard Rider in the MCU. But now let's get on to my most requested one. I almost ended the list with this, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna end the list with this. I'm just gonna go straight into this one. And that is Ghost Rider. Of all the characters I put on this list, Ghost Rider is the one I want to see the most. And I don't want him to have a show. I want him to have a movie. I want Ghost Rider on the big screen. It would be amazing. I would put my butt in that theater and smile with glee as Ghost Rider just banished people to hell. Oh my god, it'd be so good. It'd be so good. I think Ghost Rider's a character who has a lot of potential, and we know that Marvel tends to be pretty good at recognizing the potential that its characters have. And I think the MCU is working to assemble the Midnight Suns, kind of, and Ghost Rider, one of the Midnight Suns, so I mean, it's only natural. So for anyone who doesn't know, the Midnight Suns is a group of heroes that focus on more supernatural threats. So this is a Doctor Strange comic I picked up a while back called Doctor Strange Damnation. Pretty interesting read. In the front, they basically have a list of, like, some of the Midnight Suns, and so, like, yeah, it's, Wong, Bats the Ghost Dog, Iron Fist, Moon Knight, Dr. Voodoo, Man-Thing, Ghost Rider, Blade, Elsa Bloodstone. They also have Scarlet Spider on there, but he joined later. So, yeah, there's people who deal with, like, a lot of supernatural stuff. Ghost Rider is one of those. Just put the Ghost Rider in the goddamn MCU. The real MCU. I don't mean, like, yeah, he's already in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but, like, the canonicity of that is, like, it's questioned at this point. But they don't even need to recast. Just keep Gabriel Luna around. Put him in a movie made by Marvel Studios. And watch the box office explode. Alright, let's move on. We got a lot to cover here. I can't be wasting time. Namor. Would you guys like to know a little fun fact? In October of 1939, the first ever Marvel comic book was published. That comic had a character on the cover named Submariner. Said Submariner was eventually given his own book, and he became known as Namor. And yes, he was created before Aquaman, but the Aquaman movie came out before Marvel did anything with Namor. And to this day, one of Marvel's very first superheroes has not appeared on screen. Now, it's pretty clear Namor's gonna get his own project at some point. That this almost felt like cheating. I almost didn't include him on the list. He's in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and I would imagine that right after that movie, they are going to announce a Namor spin-off movie. The one issue with Namor is that DC did it first, though. And not only did they do it first, but they made $1 billion while doing it. And if Marvel does Namor and does Atlantis and all that, people will just be drawing the comparisons forever. And people will be giving Namor shit for copying Aquaman. Although people give Aquaman shit for being a copy and paste of the plot of Black Panther. There really is nothing more to elaborate on. I want to see Namor. A lot of people want to see Namor. We're going to see him soon. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I hope the fight between Namor and Black Panther is badass. And so far of the people on this list, I think Namor is most likely to actually get a movie as opposed to a show. Gwenpool! Have to get this out of the way. Gwenpool is not connected to Gwen Stacy or Deadpool. The best thing about Gwenpool is that she's from a world where all the superheroes are fictional. Like, she's from a world a lot like our world. So she comes into the main 616, I think it's the 616 universe she crosses into. She crosses into one of the comic universes, and she thinks everyone else is fictional, and this leads to all sort of hijinks. What happened is that her name is Gwendolyn Poole, and she filled out a costume order form, Gwen space Poole, P-O-O-L-E, and the tailor thought that she was trying to be like Deadpool, so he made her a Deadpool-like costume, so that she just put Gwen and Poole together to make Gwenpool. Now, she's so delightfully fun. I haven't finished LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2 yet. I really want Gwenpool, so I need to get on that. And I really want her to join the MCU and, like, just let her just crazy nature come to play. And if they ever do the West Coast Avengers, which they honestly might, Hawkeye does lead that team. Gwenpool was always trying to join it, but they wouldn't let her join. And if they do the West Coast Avengers, they need to do Gwen. They need to try to put Gwenpool on the team and just, like, is it too much to ask for Gwenpool? Wow, I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to yell. Miles Morales. Of course I want to see Miles Morales. Who would not want to see Miles Morales? I just don't want to see Miles Morales yet. I think he would be a cool character to introduce in the next Peter Parker Spider-Man trilogy and kind of build up so then at the end of the next trilogy he becomes Spider-Man. But the biggest question is if Sony is willing to share Miles Morales or if they want him all to themselves. Because Sony's having a lot of success with Miles Morales, Into the Spider-Verse, the PlayStation game. We'll see. But studio negotiations aside, I'm going to talk about wanting Miles in the MCU. I think Miles is a great character. In fact, I think he's one of the best, newer Marvel characters. When I say that, I mean characters like Ironheart or Miss Marvel. Miles was introduced just a few years ago. When? 2011. Yeah, he was created in 2011. So I guess that's not, super new. Miss Marvel was 2015. Yeah, and, Miles also seems to just be the best received. I feel like people are kind of just neutral on Miss Marvel. Ironheart was never really too well liked, but people tend to like Miles. He's got a great suit. He's got a great movie. He's got a great video game. People love the comics. People have just always loved Miles. Everyone agrees he's a great character, and I want to see him in live action. And since we never got a proper origin story for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I know the whole trilogy was really one origin story, but it's not your typical Spider-Man origin story. They could totally give the an origin story, an on-screen origin from depowered to hero with Miles Morales. That said, I feel like every time we see Miles, it's an origin story, but I haven't gotten sick of it yet. So I would be okay seeing it one more time in live action. So I really want to see Miles, but unlike the other characters I've talked about, I can actually wait. I don't need Miles quite yet. Let's give him some time. Let's give Peter Parker some more time in the spotlight before we get to replacing Spider-Man. But hopefully down the road, we can see this character. Now, I saved the biggest one for last. So let's move on to the big boy. The new Avengers is definitely coming to the MCU at some point. I think Kevin Feige's even said there will be an Avengers 5. So is it cheating to have this list on here, or to have this one on here? Maybe, but I make the rules. And rules are meant to be broken. Now the most intriguing part of a new Avengers team for me is that it feels like a reset. Because Iron Man, dead. Captain America, pretty much dead. Black Widow, dead. Hawkeye's retired right now. Who even knows what's up with Banner? Thor's off in space doing his own thing. It really does feel like that team that we know and love is just not there anymore. And so you sit there and you wonder, who's going to be on the next Avengers team? And I think that's really interesting. And I can't wait to see when they finally announce that movie and they reveal who the team is going to be. We'll talk more about Avengers in the TV video because I do have a little Avengers tidbit I have to talk about over there, so you guys can look forward to that. And I'll dive more into all the different Avengers teams and whatnot over in that video. But for this video, that's really all I have to say about the new Avengers. I just am excited to see a Avengers team up again. I'm excited to see who's on that roster. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, Sam Wilson, Captain America, is leading the team. There you go, guys. Those are 6 MCU movies I would like to see. What are some MCU movies you would like to see? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, leave a like on this video, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCU HQ. That's going to be it. Have a great day, guys.